Hi, my name is Joel Comiskey, and multiplication is such an important factor in small groups around the world. But there's also a lot of myths associated with cell group multiplication. And in my book, Myths and Truths of the Cell-Based Church, I talk about some of those myths about multiplication. I'd like to share a few of them with you. One of them is that a cell group or a small group needs to multiply within 6 months. And this was a common myth, especially in the early days of the cell church movement. I remember being in Switzerland, Zurich, Switzerland, and Werner Kniesel said to me, there's a lot of gurus that come through here saying that cell groups need to multiply in 6 months. He said, here in Zurich, it takes at least 2 years to multiply a cell group. He said the soil here is so much harder. People need to be saved and trained. It just takes a lot longer. And I think of my friend Raymond Ebbett, who was a missionary in Colombia before becoming a missionary in Spain. And he compared the two soils. In Colombia, it only took 6 months to multiply a cell because people were coming to Christ and being trained rapidly. But then when he went to Spain, the soil was so much tougher. It needed a lot more plowing and fertilizing to be ready to bear fruit. And he compared that to people being saved and multiplying cells. The two soils make a big difference. Now, the good news is that getting back to Zurich, Switzerland, Werner Kniesel, he was patient. He waited long enough until people were ready, and that church is a great model cell church today of multiplication. But we need to be patient and not force a certain amount of time on all cell groups. Another myth is that there's only one way to multiply a cell. In the early days, mother-daughter multiplication was the only way to multiply a cell. You reached the number of 15 and then half the group would go out and form another cell group. But oftentimes people would become fearful when they would get to a certain number and would leave the group. And so we begin to understand that cell planting was just as effective. Members go through the equipping, and when a person is ready or a team is ready, that team can multiply out at any time. In fact, I think the best way to multiply is when the leader who started the group goes out and starts a new group with a team. That's another way to do it. Another myth is that one person should lead more than one cell group. And I found that this was true oftentimes in Latin America and other places where the church was growing so rapidly that the goals were so high that the pastor would say, okay, you can lead 2 cells, 3 cells to reach the goal. But remember, the focus needs to be on making disciples, not new groups. I mean, the goal of the cell church is not more groups, it's more disciples. Another myth is that evangelism is the same thing as multiplication. They're different. Really, to multiply a cell, you have to do a lot of things well. Small group dynamics, equipping new leaders, community. Really, when a group multiplies, the leader has done a lot of things well, and we need to celebrate that accomplishment. So the focus needs to be on making disciples who make disciples. I think when we understand that, we can avoid a lot of myths about multiplication. I hope you take advantage of the resources on the JCG website. God bless you.
If you like this video, please click on like and subscribe to our channel, but also check out the resources on our website.